Do you think you spend too much time in meetings? We pulled our email list to see what you and the rest of our community had to say, and the results might surprise you. Here's what I wanted to know. Are people spending too much time in meetings? Are they effective in meetings? Do they feel that it's a good use of their time? We had hundreds of responses roll in, and I'm gonna share some of them with you today. By the way, I wanna let you know that Demir has a new course on optimizing your meetings, where he shares all of his juicy secrets about how to have less of them and how to get more out of them. It's an incredible, one-of-a-kind course that takes you through all the strategies and tactics that our clients use to get freedom from meetings. We only open enrollment twice a year to this course, and we're about to open it back up, so click the link in the description to get notified when that course opens for enrollment. Okay, so let's read through some of your messages about meetings. First, let's talk about how much time is being spent in meetings. Responses ranged from an impressive 0 hours a week to a terrifying 35 or more hours a week. I even saw one response from someone who spends 5 hours a week just prepping for meetings, and then he spent more than 30 hours of his week in the meetings. Holy cow, guys, that's a lot of time in meetings. A recurring theme that I saw in a lot of the responses was, yes, I feel like I spend an excessive amount of time in meetings. And yeah, 30 hours a week, that would be extremely excessive. Executives consider 33% of their meetings unnecessary or poorly run, and about 50% of employees find meetings to be unproductive, according to recent studies. And I think a big part of this is because people are in meetings who don't actually need to be in those meetings. Typically, Demir and I find that the meeting culture at most organizations is what we call an opt-in culture, meaning everyone gets invited to every meeting by default because it's less work to think about that rather than carefully choosing the attendees. At the Lifehack method, we instead have what we call a tiered opt-out meeting culture. And that means that there are team members who are automatically opted into a meeting, team members who are allowed to then opt themselves out if they were invited, and team members who are automatically opted out, so they weren't invited, and they have to volunteer to opt themselves into that meeting if they want to attend. That might sound a little complicated, but it's actually super simple, and Demir digs deep into the specifics in that Freedom from Meetings course that I mentioned. But the main takeaway is, instead of assuming that your entire team needs to be in every meeting, just ask yourself who absolutely must be there and who absolutely does not need to be there and can read the notes and takeaways afterwards. Here's a simple rule of thumb. If you deleted, say, Tim from the invite list, could you still accomplish the goal of the meeting? No? Then Tim must be there. But if you deleted Tim from the invite list and you can still accomplish the goal of the meeting, then Tim does not need to be there. Simple as that. Okay, so what about how people are feeling about meetings? We had a lot of responses that expressed frustration with how meetings are organized and how they're being run. So I want to share a couple of specific responses that I loved. Mohammed said, honestly, the first hurdle is making everyone available at the same time so that the meeting can take place. This is why companies end up with meetings just pockmarked throughout the day, even delayed meetings that don't happen for weeks and weeks because maybe the CEO's travel schedule is prohibitive, or even frantic late night emailing when someone couldn't get a meeting on the calendar fast enough but needs to communicate about something, and then that results in that always on emailing. Meetings can be a massive scheduling and communication hassle, which is why at Lifehack Method, we skip most meetings entirely and we communicate via screencast and via our task manager. In fact, we just have one team meeting a week and everything else in our business happens completely asynchronously. Yet, the whole team still feels connected and on top of their priorities. Isabella shared, it's surprising how few leaders have no idea how to prepare for a meeting, run it, and then end it. Amen, Isabella, amen. Meetings drag on and on and on, and for what? The best way to prevent this is insist that all of your meetings have a clear agenda that is sent out at the same time the meeting is scheduled. If you're running the meeting, there's no excuse for not making an agenda. Just having it is gonna make you like 1,000 times better at actually running the meeting and keeping on pace. But if you're an attendee of a meeting, here's how you can make it run more smoothly. First, go ahead and ask for an agenda up front when you receive the invite. So say something like, can you please share the agenda so that I can make sure I'm the right person to be in this meeting? Then gently nudge the host to keep pace. You could say something like, I see we've got about 15 minutes left on this meeting. How are we pacing? Or one of my personal favorites for endless status update meetings is to say, can I give my update first? And then do you mind if I log off the call? Next, Dylan offered some really practical advice about how to execute a good meeting. He says, you must create a clear goal or agenda with verbs. For example, do X, decide Y, solve Z, rather than simple line items like form revision. Also, avoid discuss or similar sounding words because it takes away from it being action-oriented. Awesome tips, Dylan. Implementing these simple tactics would trim the fat tremendously from the majority of meetings. And remember to start each and every agenda item with an action verb and even a time estimate for how long each item should take. It could seem like you're just helpless in the face of badly run and wasteful meetings, but there are so many small ways that you can coax any meeting in the right direction. If you're currently struggling with having too many meetings, or you feel like you could be communicating in a better way than constant meetings, Damir's course, Freedom from Meetings, is a brilliant guide to totally optimizing your meetings. To get notified when the course is open for enrollment, click the link in the description. Thank you so much to everyone who wrote in a response when we polled our list about meetings. What are your meeting hacks? Comment below. Remember, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're obsessed with human potential and living your best life like we are, then consider subscribing to this channel and joining our journey to complete lifestyle freedom. See you in our next video.